Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios here in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your Stockminer Brian Johnson. And we saw a very, very strong move today in the markets as everything was up, up, up. Surprise earnings news today. I don't know if I told you guys, I mentioned to my subscribers, it's very common to see into a shortened week like this, especially coming into Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, to see the markets kind of move up as opposed to down. It's more common to see them move up into the end of the week than it is down, just because they like to leave the markets all happy and stuff coming into a long 3-day weekend, and it's all kind of coming to fruition now. We definitely saw a huge push up today. So looking at the charts, we finally got the breaks we had been watching for a little while. After breaking down hard to the bear side here, it just slowly climbed its way, as it's always prone to do. Slowly climbed its way up the first 2 days of the week, and then pow, today saw a major move to the upside. Going right to the daily, you can see where these lower levels on the Dow have been holding for quite a while beautifully. And I talked about this being a bull pullback for the time being. It's just a very, very controlled move, and that's exactly what we saw then today with the push to the upside. After this big, fat, controlled move to the downside, holding on these lower areas here, getting back into and above these upper areas here, the bulls finally were able to push it up and above. So once we got above 12.4, 12.3, those were great entries to get long. Now we saw a pretty big gap up, and once we did, we moved sideways. Very hard to play this. A little bit frustrating too if you're wondering, what do I do? Do I go long? Do I go short? In a case like this, if you're not already into the long side, you've kind of missed the move. There really isn't a whole lot more you can do about the whole thing when it's all said and done. So what you do is you turn to individual stocks and you try to catch them as they start to make their run to the upside, trying to follow the markets as well. We had a beautiful play on the subscribers list again this week with VMED. Saw just a perfect break yesterday, above 28 bucks, and had the subscribers in long on that, and another beautiful follow through day to day. So that is what we do anyway on the subscribers list. That's what we do when we can't play the indices. We look to individual stocks to give us something to play, something to make money with, and that was another really big play. That, along with gold and oil. We got into oil again today, so we're doing extremely well again this week on the subscribers list. And so when you get these gaps up in the market, you got to watch those individual stocks, and you got to know which ones to really be watching. That all of that will help, kind of with your trading, and kind of catch up with where the markets are at. So gap up, wandered sideways, finally a little bit of a move up at the end of the day. Even in the after hours, we're still seeing a lot of strength out of the markets themselves as they continue to move up even in the after hours. So the Dow now up and above this 12,400 mark. Tomorrow, depending on where we open, and keeping in mind now that we are getting into the end of the week, tomorrow is the last day of trading. No trade on Friday, so you want to be very careful about staying in too long, or maybe even over the weekend. You might not want to hold over a 3-day weekend, but right now the bulls are doing a fantastic job. If we can open somewhere around break even and get a push back up and over 12,450, that's your mark. I tell you to start looking for some potential moves there. Look at what the NASDAQ did. This big slug has been way behind everything else, giving it the kind of the most potential to really see a huge upward shot. Sure enough, we got it today. But where? Right back into overhead resistance where it stayed all day long. So these lines are working perfectly for us right now as the NASDAQ gets stuck. So we saw the big hammer right down here, and I said, look for confirmation on this. Talked a lot with my subscribers about this particular formation and what it means. We saw that confirmation, and now look, today we're really doing well on the NASDAQ trade. So we're up and above into these upper areas. Could see a little bit of a slowdown tomorrow. Be very curious to see if it wants to push higher. If it does, 2370 is your next overhead level. On any kind of a major pullback, you're looking at these moving averages, but boy, right now I'd be very cautious with any short trades coming into the 3-day weekend. just wait. It's always better to just let your mind kind of settle down, enjoy Easter weekend, and come back to it Monday morning and just let it do what it's going to do over the weekend. So here on a weekly, you can also see the push starting to happen here. We'll get this close of that candle tomorrow. We'll talk more about the weekly tomorrow, but so far looking very, very bullish with the big bullish engulfing as it stands right now. See where that closes and see if we get any confirmation. The SPX shooting straight up and over. I had the subscribers in and over 1320 was our break to the upside for a long. Got that break this morning up into the 1330 where we closed for the day. And this is a nice overhead resistance area that we're sitting at. So the bigger mark here, while the Dow is getting strong, is really 1340. You'll want to watch that even over 1332, 1333 or so. I'd say between 1333 and 1338. Maybe some areas to play there. I'm very cautious with that. Ultimately, I don't know if I told this on the dailies, but I did to the subscribers. I really do feel that higher prices are to come. I do think that we have, and we will and can break this 1340 mark. That'll be a big number for the bulls. A big number. 1340, 1345 ultimately is where we're looking to break on the SPX. Got a little ways to go. We are right here to this overhead resistance area as I had marked in the charts from a few days here. And you can see where it stopped perfectly today, just in a rest, in a pause. But bulls look good today. If we can continue with this type of a motion, maybe it starts to move sideways, kind of a triangle type formation. It's anybody's guess, but right now looking very good to a bull side. Up and over that 1333-ish area or so. It's 1340, then 1345 for areas above that. VIX, of course, way down. Notice how it gapped down and then went right up, where the markets gapped up and continued up. So the VIX trying to recover from these lower marks. As I said, when the VIX gets really low like this, man, this is a good time for options traders. You guys need to be looking at options. If you play options, you really need to be looking at them when the VIX is down in this level. It's a perfect time to start picking some of those up. If you guys are unfamiliar with that or don't know how to play options or just aren't good at playing options, take the mentoring course and let me teach you how to better play the option side of things. There's a lot to know, But once you have the basics of trading down, just plain old trading, not options trading, just trading down, it'll make options a lot easier to play because they are a powerful tool if you're good, if you know what you're doing. Apple 60-minute way up and above here too, looking very good since the bounce of 320. Reclaim that 330 mark and it's been upwards ever since. Now this is very bullish. So the push today up and above this line, good opportunity for a little bit of a long play here in Apple. Be very cautious with earnings coming out, but this is very good for Apple from a bull standpoint. This is the bigger picture here. This is what we hit today and this is where we hit our head. So you still want to wait for 346, 347 to be broken before you start looking long. I don't know what earnings are going to do to it. Google didn't do so well. Intel did fantastic. Apple's a crapshoot. You just never know. Everybody expects Apple to do really well. So, is it overvalued? Will it meet its expectations? Because nobody's expecting it to just meet expectations. People expect it to beat expectations every time. That's how Apple works, because that's what they do. They just beat expectations every time. So I would caution you from holding overnight. When it comes to earnings, it's your money. Play it as you will. This is what we're looking at bigger picture. The 60-minute looks more bullish. This one has yet to break these overhead levels, and that's where you want Apple if you really want to play it bullish. You want it up and over 346, 347 before you really start looking at a more major long play in Apple. From the weekly to coming back and getting over that 20-week moving average. I told you this is absolutely what the bulls are going to want to hold. Yeah, I guess not surprising to see it this week back up and over that. It's been just a hellacious run of 5%, 4.5% so far this week in Apple. Now, we got one more day, so we'll see where it closes tomorrow, see where this candle closes, but it's so far been able to get up and over and beat the 339 area, which is the 20-week moving average. Huge for Apple. FAS, gap up, move back, kind of wandering around, flip right to a daily and just show you where it got stuck, right at that 29 mark. So I'm still 29 bucks, over 29 or 29.20 or so if you want to put a little bit extra on it. That's where your long play is in this. Now below probably 28.40 to a short side, maybe something like that. If you want to be more, that's pretty aggressive. But that would be a more aggressive play. Overall, still kind of Hard to play these because they're gapping. They gap up and run down. They gap up and run down. They're a little bit moody, if you will, right now. The financials are still a decent move, 1.4% in the FAS. And here's the FAZ. You can see what it looks like on a daily, holding below this blue line. Okay, so we've had the move up into it, where this blue line has now held beautifully to the upside. If you want a good, strong, much stronger long play in this, it's above 44. I'd wait for it. I know it's a ways away, but above 44 is your better play, and or below these moving averages for short. However, this is your overhead resistance to be watching over the next few days. We'll tackle this again tomorrow and see where we're at. So, financials, little bit on the choppy side. The part I hate about it is that they're so stinking gappy. Look at this, gap down and run up. The other one was gap up, run down. Hard to play those. Very difficult to play those. But bigger plays, if we can get some nice smooth motion out of these, you can see some really nice profits coming down the pipe here. If we can just get some nice even breaks below about the 40 and above about 44 on FAZ. And then in the FAS, you're going to be looking at above, let's say 29.20 and below 28.40. Let's just call it right now. $28 is probably a little safer bet there, but one of those two is not too bad either if you want to pick up a little money coming into the last day of the week. Caution you about holding over the weekend. If you're a really long-term trader, don't worry about it. But if you're a shorter-term trader, couple days or whatever, that I probably wouldn't hold over the weekend. Relax, take a load off, enjoy your weekend, and then hit it hard again come Monday. Nothing like spending your entire weekend stressing over a trade you got in late Thursday, and now you're stressing about it because you don't feel good about the trade. Don't do that. Just let your mind rest for a few days. You'll be amazed at how much more clear your mind is when you come back to the charts after a couple days of real solid rest where you really haven't done a lot of thinking about them. Makes a huge difference. Don't forget to take time out to rest. It's good. It's good for you, it's good for your body, it's great for your mind, and it's fantastic for your trading. All right, guys, be back with you again tomorrow night. See you then. Bye.